Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today I am going to deliver a lesson for class 11th subject Zoology. Since in our previous lessons we have discussed about the various biomolecules such as carbohydrates as well as proteins. Now today we will discuss about another important biomolecule, that is the lipid. Now these lipids, they are very important organic compounds which are essentially made of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. But in contrast to the carbohydrates, the number of oxygen molecules in case of lipids is much less than the carbon. And sometimes small amount of phosphorus, sulfur and nitrogen are also present in lipids. And these lipids constitute about 3.5% of the cell. These lipids are basically water-insoluble organic compounds. That is, they don't dissolve in water, but they freely dissolve in organic solvents like alcohol, ether, acetone, chloroform, etc. Now, basically these lipids are formed by the combination of fatty acids and alcohols. So, fatty acids and alcohols are the building blocks of lipids. And in fact, these lipids are the esters of alcohol or glycerol, which is also a type of alcohol, and fatty acids. For example, here is an example of a general simple fatty acid which is having a carboxylic group, that is COOH, and a side chain denoted as R, which is actually made of 2 to 19 carbon atoms represented by R, this is the side chain. And when it combines with an alcohol with a hydroxyl group, actually what happens? The condensation occurs, that is, a molecule of water is formed, and this condensation leads to the ester linkage between this fatty acid and an alcohol, and we get an ester. This is an example of a simple lipid. So the lipids are basically the esters of fatty acids and alcohol or glycerol. Now, another simple lipid is formed by esterification of glycerol. Glycerol is basically a trihydroxypropane having 3 hydroxyl groups as shown in this sketch. This is the trihydroxypropane having 3 hydroxyl groups, and this is known as glycerol. Now this glycerol can combine with 1, 2 or 3 fatty acids, forming monoglyceride, diglyceride or triglyceride. If 3 fatty acids combine with 3 hydroxyl groups of the glycerol, a triglyceride is formed, which is a form of lipid. As is depicted in this reaction, you can understand it. This is the glycerol, and every hydroxyl group gets attaches with one fatty acid chain. Here is the fatty acid, this is the carboxyl acid of fatty acid, and this is the R represents the side chain, which I already mentioned. It may be composed of 2 to 19 carbon atoms. And therefore, we understand that these lipids are heterogeneous group of organic compounds. Heterogeneous in the sense that this triglyceride is basically made of the glycerol and fatty acid. Now this part is of the glycerol, CH2O, and this CO or COR and COR here in this side is actually the part of fatty acids which have combined to form a triglyceride. So this triglyceride we can see is a heterogeneous organic compound, and these lipids or heterogeneous organic compounds are found in all living organisms and formed by combination of fatty acids and alcohol or glycerol as seen in this sketch, and through ester linkages. Now the lipids, therefore, they form the important constituents of cell structure like plasma membrane, and you have studied in your previous class that the plasma membrane is basically made of a lipid bilayer, that is phospholipid, which is in fact a conjugated protein, conjugated lipid, which we will study in later. And these lipids also serve as an economical food reserve in the body. Lipids have the capability to release huge amount of energy on oxidation. For instance, 1 gram of a lipid on complete oxidation has the capacity to release about 9 kilocalories of energy. Now this is a general introduction about the lipids. Now in our next lesson we will discuss about the classification of these lipids and fatty acids. Until then, goodbye.